the sound of the band on Amaryllis has been realized.
You already mentioned him, Dave Bassett, new album. This is your fourth album. About this album, I don't know if you said it, but some of your band said during the recording, the vision of what Shinedown is and where it's going became completely clear with this album. Can you describe that moment? During what song? During what recording? During?
Well, on Amaryllis, we spent all of 2011 working on the record. There's not a specific moment necessarily. Overall, I think the fact that me and Barry have been together for now going on 11 years, and then bringing Eric and Zach into the last album, and the touring that they did, and what they did for the band just in general, because we are 100% a band, especially now being able to bring Eric and Zach into the writing part and the process of, you know, the fourth album. And not only that, but Amaryllis being 100%, you know, us four working on that record together with other people that we worked with in the past, but we were able to do it as a band. I think that moment was, for me, where I could look in the studio and I was like, there's Barry, there's Eric, there's Zach, and here I am. And we're all in the studio together, and we're making a record together. That was probably the moment. So probably the first day we were doing drums at Ocean Way with Rob Cavallo and you know, all of the, you know, the team that we had worked with Madness, but we were a band.
But is it for you, in hindsight now, fourth album, is this the sound you had in mind for Shinedown?
100%.
And what did lack on the previous albums? Can you tell?
It didn't lack. None of the other records lacked. Here's the thing about Shinedown. They're all different. All four of the records they're different than each other. We're never really a band that gets satisfied. We're always trying to outdo what we've already done. Ultimately, we love the progression of the sound of the band. The first record doesn't sound like the second record doesn't sound like the third, and the fourth album doesn't sound like any of the other three.
No, but you were saying Amaryllis is the centerpiece of what Shinedown is. That's what's been said. So you can say that now finally you found
I think that the band with Amaryllis found its, I think that the band's sound was identified on the sound of Madness. And I think that the sound of the band on Amaryllis has been realized. Because, you know, we were able to do it as a band. The sound got bigger, it got more cinematic. We were able to expand upon a lot of different ideas that we had talked about on previous records, but we hadn't executed them yet, where we were able to execute them on Amaryllis.
One example?
A song called I'm Not Alright, where most bands, they would hear, hey, let's put horns on this. And they would be like, no way. What are you talking about? Put horns on a song? We're a rock band. We don't look at it like that. We look at it like, and that's just one example. But Rob was like, you know, we had a huge symphony, giant guitars, big, you know, drums, low end from the bass, big vocals. But Rob was like, let's put horns on this. And it's the only song that has it on the whole record. But it's like this wild, the whole song is an adventure. It's like a 3-minute and 10-second adventure. And it just shows the growth of the band, and also the fact that we can pull it off, you know, on a record. Because I've told people, I'm like, live, you have to give us a minute to get 10 horn players out, you know, each night. But on the record, you know, we all said yes, let's do it. And you know, it just shows the fact that, you know, we take the musicianship so seriously, but we also take the creative side of who we are. It's just it's a balance for us, and we don't ever want to think that we can't do something. That's just not the way we look at things.
Do you write autobiographical all the time, or?
I write autobiographical, and then I write from, you know, from other people that I've met through the years, and the stories that they tell me, and, you know, what they've seen and what they've been through. A lot of time we have such an amazing interaction with our fans and the people that come to the shows and the people that buy the records. I mean, I've always said that we have one boss. It just happens to be everybody in the audience, because they are the boss. I would say 90% of it's autobiographical.